Your service is about to begin. If you just continue to silence yourself, please.
Welcome everyone to this funeral service. Susie Frisch. I'm going to begin with the chanting of the 16th Psalm. Shiviti Adonai negdi tamid, hinini ba'al imhot, lachen samachti, Re'agel kivod yabdesani shkonavata. Ki lo ta'azov nafshi lishon, lo tiken chassidcha leroshocha, v'yehi orachai, sovasmacho et panecha, mi'imot yemincha netzach. I have set the eternal always before me. God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. At being secure. You will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones to destruction. You show me the path of life. Presence brings fullness of joy, enduring happiness. Your gift. Death is taken. Beloved Susie Frisch. And our friends grieve in their darkened world. There's silence. There's lamentation. The tears that have been shed, there is loneliness lost in their sorrow. Here they find the presence of loving friends. Here come God. Be with them. Susie's love that united you in life. Death cannot sever. Her companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continues through the tenderness of memory for the gifts of her heart and mind that brought joy and happiness, and is now a precious remembrance for all these and more. We give our thanks to God. And in this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scripture that brings us the ever new message. God's nearness. It tells of our kinship with the Creator. In light as in darkness, joy as in sorrow, life as in death. The 15th Psalm, we find the following: Adonai mi'avurcho alecha mi'yishtot b'har kodshecha. God, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain. Those who are upright, just, who speak the truth within their hearts, and do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who scorn the lawless but honor those who live near God, who give their word and come what may do not retract, do not exploit others, never take bribes. Those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Perhaps more than any other, the 23rd Psalm brought so much comfort to so many over the ages. Some of you have copies of the English translation in front of you. I'm going to chant it first in the Hebrew and then ask you to join with me in the English. I want you to think about this one idea It says in the Psalm, yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. It's not a great translation. It should say, though I walk through the valley. Because the journey of grief, journey of mourning, it's not something where we stop. Take one step at a time. And it seems long and difficult and dark. We don't stop. Go. So I'm going to chant in the Hebrew and then ask you to join with me. Adonai ro'i lo esa, inoteshe yarbitzeni, al memeluchot inahani, nafshi shomeh. Yan chingmad letzedek manshmo. Gam ki elech begeit salma velo yirata. Yata imati shivtecha mishantecha. Ima yenachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged tzvarerai. Tishanta vashemen roshi. Osi revaita. Ach tov achesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti bebeit Adonai le'orech yami. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths, save for me. Even when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. The rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of God. In his sorrow, Job cried out words that we shared just a few moments ago when we tore free of the roots. God has given and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, that there is strength in faith. And so with Job, we say, Adonai Natan, God, you have given, you gave us. Susie Frisch, you will not be forgotten. For all that is good and enduring in your life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach, God will take it away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty, love. And I'll say, Yeshem Adonai Borach, Me'atav Yad Olam, blessed be the name of God, now and forever. I'm going to ask that we take just a moment of silent prayer. As we remember Susie, she touched your lives. Blessing above. Pray in silence. Randy and Samantha asked that I play this song. love music. She heard a song on the radio. She felt that she could use it in a jazzercise class. She just loved to dance. Took my love. I the mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow covered hill. The landslide come down. A mirror in the sky, and the child within my heart right now. And I sail through the changing ocean tide, and I handle the seasons of my life. I'm afraid of changing, 'cause I live my life around you. Time makes you older, even children get older. I'm getting old too. I'm getting old too. Take my love, take it down. Oh, I'm a mountain and you turn around. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hill, landslide down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hill, landslide down. And I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I live my life around you. Time makes you older, even children get older. I'm getting old. Oh, I'm getting old too. And if you see my reflection, snow covered hill, landslide down. Oh, the landslide down. I want to invite Randy and Brian to come up and share.
So many familiar faces. The first time I met Susan and Mike was at their home at the lighthouse about 15 years ago. I noticed immediately how affable and warm she was. And she drilled me on where I grew up, where were my parents from, where were my grandparents from, and so on and so on. Was everything Jewish, Reformed, conservative, etc., etc. I think not only was she getting me as a potential husband, but this was also a major thing for the opportunity to be a part of her large and very close family. Randy and I dated for about a year before we became engaged, and at some point during that year, Susan started to refer to me as my friend. I was so touched that she saw me that way. It made me feel like I had a second mother. I moved from Boston to Colorado when I was 22. And for the 10 years between that movie and Randy, I was only around family for a few days a year, and those visits required a faith. Susan warmly welcomed me into her family. She treated me as one of her own. So So after many years of essentially being solo, I suddenly had a family that lived close by. This is something I immediately valued and continue to cherish today. Our family dinners will be a little smaller now, but we will continue to have them in her honor. Family was everything to Susie. Despite my marriage to Randy having been the event that we really needed to do with the family, I credit Susie with making me feel like a welcoming member of a large Cleveland originated clan. I came from a very small family. Huge Thanksgivings, weddings, and other family events that become such a special part of my life. And I credit Susie for that. Susie always enjoyed a good laugh. Spent much time around people that grew up in the Northeast. You know that teasing was in our DNA. The more you like someone, the more you tease them. At least that's how it was where I grew up in the Boston area. Despite Susie's great sense of humor, she couldn't stand when I would tease her. I was relentless. I hope she can hear me say to her now, I'm sorry. However, Susie saying things to me like, "You're on my very last nerve, Ryan," or "See this? It's the edge." And this is you. Will always be some of my fondest memories of her. I hope she knew all the things that you affection for her. Despite growing up in a pretty religious household, Yiddish words were hardly ever spoken. Susie would pepper her conversation with words like "spilkas," Yiddish word for having ants in her pants. Or the time that Randy and I went to Manitou Springs to celebrate our anniversary, Susie referred to it as a Kazarai town, meaning it's full of tchotchke stores. I'll miss her Yiddish slang. I won't miss all the tchotchkes that peppered her bones. Lastly, the last few years have been incredibly difficult for Susie. Randy and I would often ask each other, what did she do to deserve this? The answer is nothing, because someone is kind. What Susie should have lived a much longer life, so we all could spend more time.
When I think about my mom, I think about her as a before and an after. The after she's diagnosed with IPF, so much harder to think about. She fought long and she fought really hard against so many health conditions. It seems impossible that she could have them all. But she fought each and every day to stay here with us. Her friends and family, they meant absolutely everything to her. So when I think of my mom, I'm going to stick to the before. The person that she really was. She had a big and loyal heart. She was affectionate and warm. She was silly and self-appreciating. These are some of the memories I will hold on to. My mom so badly wanted to plan my wedding, but had her plan foiled by Brian and I, who really wanted to do it on our own. She ended up relenting after lots of ideas went by the wayside and declared, "All I want at the reception is nuts and candy on the table because that just makes for a classy affair." My mom loved to dance and did so often in the living room with us growing up, and at every wedding and bar or bat mitzvah. She was always the first to conduct and do the electric slide. We would sing into airport microphones to "We Are Family," Ain't No Mountain High Enough, and one of her favorites, Funky Town. My mom, who loved to shop and was once elated when turned around in the mall and thought there were two of the same store. My mom, who tried to help me learn to drive and couldn't understand why the driver's ed teacher would ever tell me to turn the wheel in the direction you want the back of the car to go when reversing. Why would you look at the back of the car? You need to look at where you're going. My mom couldn't wait until 12 or even 8. I couldn't wait until 12 or even 8 weeks to tell her I was pregnant. Who flew up from vacation when I had a miscarriage. Who played with my hair while I was in labor and was the first to tell me to look at my baby when she was being born. She drove through a fierce snowstorm. She hated driving, but she really hated driving in the snow. Because stay with Hannah when I went into labor with Lila. I cried happy tears when she saw us all together as a family when she brought Hannah to meet her baby sister. My mom who loved food. She ate a chicken wing so clean she almost ate through the bone. Or the cream spinach at Del Fresco's that she declared she could happily die with her face in the bowl. My mom who loved to make nachos for football Sundays when we actually watched football growing up. Who stirred clam chowder for hours when making it from scratch. Who made the best arrosette cheesecake and matzo ball soup. Who loved corned beef and coconut bars from Porky and Money's. My mom who introduced us to Broadway and fostered our love for the theater. She would get us tickets for Hanukkah, and we would all go together. Cats, Phantom of the Opera, Rent, Wicked. Then she would buy the tapes, yes, the cassette tapes. And we would sit in the living room and sing them straight through. My mom who I called long distance every day from college because I missed her so much and loved her so much. My mom who I still talk to every day, multiple times a day until one day. My mom who loved me and my sister so fiercely. My mom who loved you all just as fiercely. My mom who never stopped trying and never gave up. My mom who I just wanted to let go of all the pain and suffering. And the mom that I didn't want to let go.
Thank you. Dear Randy and Brian, dear Hannah, Lila, dear Samantha, dear Steve, dear Robin and Bob and Brett and Lisa, dear family and friends all, those who are here in person, those who are joining us via live stream. Susie Frisch is a sweet, loving, kind, funny woman. She had many, many friends, and she worked hard all her life. She was blessed. Loving daughters, son-in-law, granddaughters, family, friends, stepchildren who wanted nothing for her but happiness. And there were times in her life when she felt as though she was the luckiest person in the world. There were also times when she was burdened with a hole in her soul. It was formed from a young age. She experienced periods of self-doubt and insecurity that no one could break through. But as we think about the entirety of her life, I'm so glad that you said that, Randy. It's important that we remember her joy, even amidst her troubles, especially after these last few very difficult years. She was born in 1948 in Cleveland, Ohio. Parents, Charlotte and Sanford Wool, Susie and her siblings Steve and Robin, in the midst of a very large family. Young child. And as the middle child, she sometimes felt adrift, as though she didn't get the support she needed from her parents. This impacted her self-esteem. It was a thing really throughout her life. Her Aunt Sylvia, the matriarch of the family, was a very important figure in her life. She was a source of unconditional love and support. She graduated from Cleveland Heights High School and went on to Kent State. Became an X-ray tech at Mount Sinai Hospital. In Cleveland, she met Bert Casvet when he was in podiatry school. They were married in 1972, divorced in 1993. Casvet eventually landed here in Denver, in Aurora, actually. Randy came along in 1974, and then Samantha in 1978. As we've seen so beautifully, the mother, Susie, wanted nothing else than to be an integral part of her daughter's life. She was so close to them, and she was also very sensitive. And she had many needs, whether it was to plan a wedding, which she couldn't, or to be really involved in their life. That was sometimes hard as daughters, if your mom wants to be that involved in their life. But she loved her daughters fiercely, and she was always there for them. In the 1980s, when she taught aerobics a la Jane Fonda, the girls thought it was so cool. She had all the outfits, the leotards and the tights. And the house was always filled with music, and we heard them dancing, whether it was Prince or Aerosmith. And whenever she heard a song, she said, that would be good for abs, or that would be good for workout. Brian, as you said, you were her Brian. She loved you fiercely. Your relationship was so special. As a grandmother, she loved you girls so much. Hannah, you were lucky because you were old enough to really get to know her. She took you to Frozen on Ice and all the theater, all the Shabbat sings and the babysitting and the sleepovers. Forgive to both you and to her. 1995, Susie met Mike Frisch through Temple Emmanuel, well, through the book. And if you know what I'm talking about, it was the precursor to J-Day in the Jewish community. And they had so much fun together. They were married in 1999. They traveled together on cruises. Truly, it was the best part of both of their lives. He loved to play golf. She tolerated it. She actually hated it, but she was. They went to art auctions together. They had a large group of friends, and there was so much joy and so much laughter. When Mike was alive, she had a very close relationship with his grandchildren. Now, Judaism was so important to her. Holidays, study groups at Temple Sinai. She loved to host the holidays at her home. She was never happier than when her table was filled with family and friends. There was a tradition at Passover Seder's that Mike would need to do everything you could to throw it off, heckling him, shortening the Seder, which was parents' chagrin, by the way, Brian. They sang Diana, they sang, "Said the Father to the children, the woman." More questions. She hosted breaking fast. She loved to sing. She wasn't very good at it, and she knew it, so she sang louder anyway because it was fun. She and Rabbi Zwerner at Temple Sinai had such a neat and close relationship. Susie had a successful and a meaningful career, first working part-time at a clinic, not only as an x-ray tech, but also as a nurse, something that would never be allowed today. And then she got another part-time job as a pharmaceutical rep for Whitehall. Then she moved into helping people with CT scans and mammography. Kind and sweetness helped all of those. Came in at difficult times. In 2012, Mike died after a long illness, and she took amazing care of him. And after that, things changed for Susie. She got ill. So many illnesses, but she was a fighter. And she was determined to live. She pursued a lung transplant, got it. Went to the Mayo Clinic. She was her own advocate. She had a spectacular recovery from the transplant, but then things changed. She declined. The last years were not kind to her. Children, her grandchildren, her siblings, her family, her friends were such an integral part of her life, as were her pets. At one point, she had 4 dogs and 2 cats, and Gordy. That beautiful little Yorkie was by her side. They adored each other. He supported her through COVID and Mike's death as well as her own illness. Understood that love comes from many places. She found that love. Rabbi Joshua Lockman writes the following: death is not an enemy of life, but it's a friend. He writes, we are like children, privileged to spend a day in a great park. A park filled with many gardens and playgrounds and azure-tinted lakes with light boats sailing upon the tranquil waves. True, the day allotted to each one of us is not the same in length or in light or in beauty. Some children of earth are privileged to spend a long and sunlit day in the garden of the earth, and for others, the day is shorter, cloudy. The dusk descends more quickly as in a winter's tale, but then for each one of us, great nurse, that takes us by the hand and quietly says, it's time to go home. Night is coming. Bedtime, child of earth, come tired. Lie down at last in the quiet nursery of nature and sleep, sleep well. Day is done. It's taken, Susie Frisch. Not struggling anymore. For that we can give thanks. For love, life, caring for gifts, make this world a better place. So for life, so it's filled with beauty, love. We build shalom. We bid shalom to Susie Frisch. Zichronah lebracha, may her memory be for an eternal blessing. Let's all say. Just a moment now. Silent prayer. Into your care, O God, we entrust the spirit of Susan W. Frisch, where you keep faith with your children in death as in life. Sustain us that we may meet with serenity the mysteries that lie ahead, knowing that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with us, a loving friend in whom we put our trust. You are the light of our life, our hope in eternity. They ask us now to rise as we are able to be El Maleh Rachamim, prayer for this. El Maleh Rachamim, Bochen Banom, Amtzenu Chanechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShekhinah, Yihim Kedoshim U'Tehorim, Kezor Halaki Amanzi, Et Nishma, Yakireinu Shalcha Le'olamah, Ba'al HaRachamim, Yasireha B'Seter Knafam, Le'olamim, B'Tzror B'Tzror HaChaim, Et Nishmata, Ayuna Halata, Shalom, Al Mishkava Le'olam. Amen. Passionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence. Susan W. Frisch, who has entered eternity. God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God gives her inheritance. She rests in peace. Let's all say. My friends, the family has asked that I let you know that immediately after interment, we're invited back to the home of Randy, Ryan, 1310 South Garfield Street, immediately following the retirement, there will be a Shiva service this afternoon at 3:45